I don't have it printed. Where do we have it saved?
Lindsay put it out on a SharePoint drive. I thought she shared it with both of us.
She might have.
Well, that's what. Yeah, sorry. I should have printed one before I came down.
You're fine.
It apparently was too much confusion.
Hello? 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 Test.
I know. I don't know. Okay, good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, November 18th. The temperature outside is about 80 degrees, which is great. The time is 9:31, so let's go ahead and get our meeting started this morning. So, Erica, can you do the roll call?
Commissioner Malika.
Here.
Commissioner Henson.
Here.
Commissioner Pinter.
Here.
Commissioner Odoricio. Commissioner Baca.
Here. And if everyone can please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so much. We just need a motion from the board to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
That's on me. So I move to approve the agenda, and with a second by Kathy.
And the motion passes 5-0. So good morning, everyone. So today we have the honor of welcoming members of the Civil Air Patrol to recognize Colorado Air and Spaceport for its support of their work this past summer. This recognition is deeply meaningful to us as a county. It reflects the incredible activity happening at the Colorado Air and Spaceport every day, and the commitment our team makes to supporting education, innovation, and the next generation of leaders in aviation and aerospace. We are proud that CAS could play a role in the cadet project with NASA, and even more proud to see these young people gaining experiences that will shape their futures. This partnership highlights the best of what Colorado Air and Spaceport can offer, a place where opportunity, service, and learning come together. I'd now like to invite the squadron leadership and the cadets who are here with us today to come forward and present the certificates. We're joined by Civil Air Patrol Mile High Squadron Chaplain and Cadet Program Leader Lane McGee, as well as some of the cadets and several members of our Colorado Air and Spaceport team, including Director Jeff Kloska, who's at the mic, and Deputy Director Will Flowers.
Good morning, Jeff Kloska, Director there in Spaceport. I just want to take the opportunity to recognize Lane McGee to say a couple of words.
Well, thank you very much. The Air and Spaceport supported us for a period of 4 months this year, and they support us all year long. But specifically, we were doing a joint mission with NASA. And what better place than the Air and Spaceport to do that, right? And we were collecting weather data to help NASA with finding new information in layers of atmosphere with micro-weather patterns. So we really appreciate all that Air and Spaceport did in their support to use their facilities over that 4-month period.
And with that, did we want to take pictures? We have a certificate I believe you guys wanted to hand over.
Yes, so I'm going to turn it over to the floor really quick to the board, and
Yeah.
then we'll come down and we'll join you for pictures.
Perfect.
So thank you, Jeff. Any comments from the board this morning?
Yeah, just a thank you to these fine young people, the cadets. I mean, it's always wonderful to see folks in service, and I think it's particularly wonderful to see young people stepping up for service. So happy to have you be part of our larger family at CASP, and happy to support your journey into public service.
I would second that. So yesterday we did a ribbon cutting for a gulch and a ditch over at the Riverdale Golf Course. And then today and yesterday we had celebrations of the Colorado Air and Spaceport. So, you know, the level of, and I see in our audience the Hispanic Restaurant Association as well. So we're reaching out in all directions here at Adams County. Everyone is welcome, and we're certainly really proud of these cadets and your service and the project that you worked on with NASA. I think that's fantastic. So why don't we come down and do a group photo since you're all lined up. And then we'll go on to our next proclamation. So if the board can please come down, and thank you, Wes and Nikki.
Perfect. Please come on down and we'll have the board join.
Okay, so now we're honored to introduce a proclamation recognizing National Native American Heritage Month. So this observance offers us an important opportunity across the United States and especially here in Colorado and Adams County to acknowledge the history, cultures, and enduring contributions of Indigenous peoples. It also calls us to reflect on the fact that we live and work each day on land that originally was home to the people of Indigenous nations, whose resilience and leadership continue to shape our communities. Recognizing this month allows us to honor that legacy and recommit to understanding, respect, honest acknowledgement of past harms, and a future always rooted in dignity and humanization for all people. So at this time, I'd like to have Commissioner Mullica read the proclamation into the record.
All right, thank you. This is a proclamation for National Native American Heritage Month for November 2025. Whereas each year, the United States observes National Native American Heritage Month and celebrates the countless contributions of Native peoples past and present, honoring the influence they have had on the advancement of our nation and the state of Colorado. And whereas Adams County has a rich history of an Indigenous people and the indigenous lands of the surrounding Adams County area, these lands were originally inhabited by the Ute, Cheyenne, Arapaho, I'm going to have a tough one with this one, Oseti, Sakoan, sorry if I got that wrong, and over 40 other tribal nations that continue to thrive in what is now known as Adams County and the surrounding areas. These nations have historical and contemporary significance to our community, and whereas Adams County acknowledges the enduring strength of American Indian and Alaska Native peoples, whose history reflects both the profound and painful challenges they have faced and the lasting contributions they have made. Whereas during National Native American Heritage Month, we also honor our Native American veterans and service members who have courageously served and continue to serve in our armed forces, including the brave Native American Code Talkers in World War II, in World War I, and World War II. For over 200 years, Native Americans have defended our country during every conflict and continue to serve at a higher rate than any other ethnic group in the nation. And whereas this month and every month we honor the precocious, strong, and enduring cultures and contributions of all Native Americans and recommit ourselves to fulfilling the full promise of our nation together. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this 18th day of November, the Adams County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month and encourages all residents to honor the rich diversity of the Native community and celebrate the many ways they contribute to our nation and society.
Great, thank you so much, Commissioner. At this time, I'd like to invite Kayo Gaddis, a civil engineer in the Community Economic Development Department, and also Nikki Beaupre to come up to speak.
Sahegan, Skana Gowaga. I hope all is peaceful, commissioners. My name is Arthur Gaitis, and I'm a civil engineer here at CED. My dad's family is Kanyegahaga, or Mohawk, and I'd like to thank you for recognizing Native American History Month this year. Indigenous peoples in North America go by many labels: Native American, American Indian, Alaska Native, First Nations, or by their tribal affiliation. Given there are 576 federally recognized tribes, with many others still fighting for recognition, the best thing to do is ask. I prefer to identify as Mohawk, but I use Native for short. Only about 22% of Natives live on reservations. The other 78%, like myself, live dispersed throughout America as your neighbors and friends. Over time, our cultures have meshed with others as evidence of a diverse America. However, this also means our struggles are often washed and forgotten. The tactics that we've seen from our federal government to shrink social safety nets this year are, to Natives, remnants from the past. Come January, 14 million Americans are set to lose their health care and 50,000 estimated to die. To Natives, this is a reminder of 1837, when the Secretary of War withheld smallpox vaccines from the Mandan, killing 15,000. Or in 1887, when the Dawes Act allowed the state to take over 2/3 of native land. This led to reliance on conditional food rations, making many choose between feeding their children or abandoning their homes. I was reminded of this ultimatum when the SNAP benefits of 42 million Americans were used as a bargaining chip. The separation of migrants from their children born on U.S. soil is also not new. How can one be how can one be illegal on stolen land? My grandfather, Robert Gaitis, was taken away from his indigent mother on the Mohawk Reservation to be assimilated at an Indian school in New York. After adoption by Lithuanian immigrants, his first government papers were signed with our new last name. He found his brother later in life, but never his mother or sisters. We pretend these atrocities are simply tragedies from the past, but for 2 years we've watched our government destroy hospitals, induce famine, and orphan over 17,000 children in Palestine. In the words of Ogallala activist Russell Means, the Palestinians in Gaza are the American Indians of the Middle East. I draw these parallels because natives understand colonialism. The methods used to control colonies abroad today will be used to control cities at home tomorrow, as fascism is simply colonialism turned inwards. The targets of today are not confined to one people, but instead a coalition of society's most vulnerable. The vectors of pain are not aimed solely at natives, but also the working and the poor. Indian policy is being brought down upon the American people. Too often we ask how past mistakes can be forgiven instead of future atrocities prevented. Moments where we squabble over golf clubhouses and aerospace incentives may one day be seen as indecent if our neighbors are left to suffer. Come Thanksgiving, I ask that Native Americans be remembered for our ongoing contributions to art, food, infrastructure, language, and culture. Remember the Mohawk Skywalkers who helped build almost every major construction project in New York, including both the destroyed and rebuilt World Trade Centers. Remember our values of bravery and the ethic of taking risks for the greater good of the people. And remember our historic commitment to solidarity with Indigenous peoples around the world. I am forever thankful for the opportunity to serve all people of Adams County. Thank you again, Commissioners, for this proclamation and chance to speak. May the great mystery continue to guide and protect the paths of you and your loved ones. All webs are spun from the same dreams. Solidarity forever.
Thank you so much. We have Nikki Bupre.
Good morning. I'd like to share a brief history as part of today's reflection on our collective history. My name is not of importance today, out of respect of the Indigenous people whose history and contributions we celebrate. This story is personally meaningful to me, and while I've heard it in different ways, the reference-recognized sources include the Texas State Historical Association and Baylor University's Texas Collection, though most will probably find Wikipedia first. Cynthia Parker, known as Narua, spent decades with the Comanche, raising her children, including her son, Quanah Parker, who's a renowned leader, about 180 years ago, and connecting deeply to her people and the land. Even after attempts to return her to Anglo society, she remained fully accepted and was honored in her burial at Fort Sill alongside other Indigenous people and leaders. I'd also like to acknowledge Cole Brings Plenty of the Cheyenne River Sioux. He was both an actor and an Indigenous activist, and his life and ultimately untimely passing reminds us of the Indigenous stories are often complex, full of resilience, and ongoing calls for understanding. I invite everyone to learn more about historic and contemporary stories of the Native peoples honoring their wisdom. Thank you. Oh, I can't read. Honoring their wisdom, strength, and contributions. And I offer my sincere respect and gratitude to their leadership and influence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to my fellow commissioners. If any commissioner would like to offer comments. So you see several, Commissioner O'Dorisio, Mollica, and Henson.
I want to thank both of our speakers. I think it's important to recognize that I love this country. I love my children. They love me. When dealing with family, we have to recognize all the wonderful things that our kids can become, but also tell them when they did it wrong. I have my best friends and family who will tell me when I do things wrong, as well as recognize when we do it right. The story of Indigenous people in the United States can be a source of pride when looking at culture, contributions, and resiliency. It could also be a source of shame but we have to own that shame and have to own those mistakes, behaviors, and atrocities as a country if we're really truly love this country. And so I appreciate us making sure that we recognize both sides of that coin, because it is important for us to, if we're going to ask for forgiveness of the past, to, as one of our speakers noted, make sure you have a commitment to making sure that the future is better. So thank you very much. I appreciate this board and this organization recognizing recognitions like today. Most of all, I appreciate our speakers coming in, sharing their perspective and their history, and reminding us that this is a source of, again, pride and ownership of shame. But if we love this country and we love each other, we will continue to do better. And let's keep that commitment together. Thank you.
Commissioner Malika?
Thank you. I'm very excited about this proclamation today for many reasons. Being a descendant of the Picoris tribe, a Pueblo tribe in New Mexico, where my family is from, I'm really, it helps me reflect just on my family's history and the things that they had to endure to survive today. And I think about my grandmothers who have passed down beautiful traditions to our family that we hold dear even today. And so, if anything, it's a great moment of reflection for all of us. Not to, yes, I think that there's a lot of pain when you think about their journeys and their stories. But there's also just so much beauty in how they have brought their traditions and moved it forward. So I'm excited to honor all of the Native American cultures that we have throughout this country, all of the descendants. And I think what's interesting is, as you know, our families continue to grow and the lines continue, like really just preserving those pieces of our culture to send to the next generation is going to be most important. So yeah, I'm happy to do this proclamation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Pinter, or Henson and then Pinter.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud that Adams County read this proclamation today. I'm proud to live in and serve a county that acknowledges the significant and impactful contributions of our Native Americans, our indigenous peoples. Excuse me. As you said, they go by many names. Many names are used to describe these people. I want to say thank you so much to our speakers. Your words were powerful and emotional and honest, and a great way to start this meeting, and especially as we are looking ahead to the week of Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving holiday and what that means as Americans. What does Thanksgiving mean in our country? Obviously, the story of America is still being written, and we have to reflect on the past. We have to acknowledge mistakes. We have to try to heal going forward. The struggle, the pain, and the healing all have existed in the past and are happening now and will exist in the future. And by being honest and open and celebrating everything that it means to be an American and how our country, the land that this country, upon which this country is built, is very important, and we need to maintain the focus on our history, our shared history, and I look forward to acknowledging and celebrating this again next year, but also throughout the year. Thank you again to our speakers for your eloquent words acknowledging this proclamation today.
Thank you. Commissioner Pinter?
Yeah, my colleagues have said a lot. I just want to make sure that it's unanimous from us as a board, thanking the speakers for telling personal and familial stories to help make sure that this proclamation isn't just words, but it is reflected in our community, in our heritage, and in our nation. And as my colleagues have said, we have a varied history and things that we are learning from and growing from, and things that we are ashamed of, and things that we are doing better, and lessons for history to repeat, and lessons for history to certainly never repeat again. And thank you for sharing those stories. And we know, just listening on the radio this morning and other stories that have been broadcast, there are still lessons being learned and work to be done to restore diplomatic relations and learn from how Native American peoples were treated in this land, and how we can learn from each other and learn from those stories. And thank you for sharing a window today. And I would encourage everyone who is looking for more information. There are so many different museums dedicated to these topics here in the United States, in Denver, as well as the Smithsonian. And so I hope that we're all working and learning together.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I think the most heartfelt thing that has been said this morning already is I hope all is peaceful. And I think that really resonated with me, knowing that the challenges that we see with our residents, with small business in this moment in the United States, that we continue on. And as one of my commissioners has stated, is that the story continues to be told and written. And with that, that brings me a lot of hope. And I want to really acknowledge and thank the speakers that we have one of our elected officials that comes forward and says, I don't know if honoring and reading a proclamation really recognizes the importance of what we're talking about. And it's really the speakers and your tenacity and your courage to come and tell the stories and continue to tell the stories of your family, of assimilation, of the challenges. And I want to recognize also my grandfather being an immigrant to this country is really the tenacity within you that keeps you going. So it's really the speaker's words that brought this proclamation to life. So I want to thank them. I'm really proud to be a part of an organization that is welcoming to many. So these proclamations start our meetings off. We do them frequently to the elected official that says, I don't know if these paper have any meaning. They do have meaning, and I think the speakers brought that to life today. So thank you so much. And we'd like to come, if you'd come down, anyone in the audience, our two speakers will come down and take a photo for this proclamation today. We'll meet you down here at the front. Okay, now we're on to item number 5, public comment. Erica, do you have anyone signed up for public comment? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come and speak at public comment? You have 3 minutes. Anyone have an item that you'd like to speak about? Okay, so the land use cases, if you're here for a land use, will happen a little bit later in our meeting. At this time, is there anything from the board? Commissioner Henson.
Thank you, Chair. So first of all, that was such a wonderful way to start our meeting. I do want to start off, so I don't forget at the end of my comments, to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving next week. Obviously, we have a lot to think about as Americans, what it means to be an American and what we're celebrating on that day. For me, is always the rich tapestry of our country that brought us to where we are in each of our lives today here, living in Adams County, and also the season of gratitude. Obviously, I'm grateful for this proclamation we just read, our speakers who spoke, and for the opportunity to live and serve here in Adams County. On Saturday, our Adams County Sheriff's Office will have their annual Operation Freebird event, which is held at Mountain States Toyota, I believe starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, where you can, there are a variety of vendors there, but also if your family is in need of a Thanksgiving meal food, you can pick that up there and learn about a lot of other great organizations in our community. It's a wonderful event. I've been there several times, and it's a wonderful way to really kick off the Thanksgiving week by being in community and also knowing that those who are in need are receiving help from our community, because we do care a lot about our community. Speaking of food, SNAP benefits were turned back on, so to speak, late last week, I believe, and should have been distributed to our Adams County residents. There are possibilities always of glitches in that system, but please reach out to our Human Services Department. Those benefits should be loaded onto your EBT cards and should continue flowing now, at least through next year. As was mentioned by our speaker, we saw a big disruption in SNAP, and that really impacts Adams County. We have about 70,000 residents who depend on those SNAP benefits every month, to the tune of $13.4 million in food distribution. That is really critical to the health and welfare of our community here in Adams County and our many residents. And I'm glad to see those benefits restored. We've had a challenging year as a board, managing a lot of surprises coming out of the federal government. And we have worked diligently over the year. We've been in touch with our congressional delegation throughout the year, telling them of the impacts that H.R. 1 will have on Adams County, because the SNAP benefits have been restored, but the healthcare premium tax credits will not be. They will expire at the end of December, and that will impact people in Adams County who will not be able to afford their health insurance come January, and other people, which will make prices go up for those who are maybe able to stay in that marketplace. We also will be seeing cuts to Medicaid, and we have 1 in 3 residents in Adams County on Medicaid. 2 in 3 are eligible. So we have a lot coming down the pike at us, so to speak. Managing this, we will continue to tell our congressional representatives here in CD8 who have voted to support these cuts to the safety net services to our residents that we need their help in making those programs whole to the benefit of the people here in Adams County. That is this board, our staff, we've been committed to being very open about that, the impacts of that. All that is to say that I'm grateful to be part of an organization that is really focused on serving our residents and doing what we can. There are a lot of organizations and food banks and pantries and community groups out there striving very hard, working very hard to raise resources for community members who are in need, not only going into the holiday season, but I anticipate this will continue full on into 2026, because we know that just because the year ends and the holidays come to an end, the need will not come to an end. And we will continue to leverage all of our relationships with folks. I know that our website has resource information listed there. You can reach out to the county. Our constituent services team can also help direct you to those. So please don't hesitate to reach out. The federal government is back open. We never closed. We have always been here for the people of Adams County, and we will do everything we can to connect you to the resources that you might need to help your family thrive and succeed here in Adams County. So I'm grateful to be part of this organization. I'm looking forward to next week, and I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you get to spend time with people who care about you and people you care about, and celebrate your life here in Adams County. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Pinter.
Yeah, just wanted to share a couple additional things. You know, I think it's really helpful that we had this more expansive conversation about the history of Thanksgiving. One of the things I think is important that I really appreciate about us all taking a collective pause to care for each other is how I love to celebrate Thanksgiving, and that means being of service. That also means being of service to your neighbor, and finding a seat at a table and inviting others to sit at your table. There are a couple tables that are open that I just want to highlight. There is a Vetsgiving at the Legion, Saturday, November 22nd, 4 to 8 p.m. This is community food fellowship. All are welcome in this Thanksgiving meal for all, open to veterans, military members, and their families. And it's at 5400 East Yale Avenue in Denver. And then I also know that the Cheria Dulce Luna, which is at Huron and Thornton Parkway on Thanksgiving itself, November 27th, is hosting a community meal. That's a beautiful little coffee shop and churro shop at Huron and Thornton Parkway. Just some of our neighbors. These were two that just were highlighted to me that are supported by community. I'm sure all of you who have an extra seat at your table are inviting others to join. And those of you who are seeking a seat at a table, I'm sure a table will open for you this week. And I just love that spirit of community, of us looking out for each other. And that is the best of the holiday, in my opinion, is us opening a seat at our table for a neighbor. And I just, as Kathy said, we've experienced quite the food shortage with 70,000 Adams County residents going without food for the past couple of weeks. And that's inspired a lot of generosity in our neighbors. And I hope that generosity continues, because while it's taking several days for those benefits to turn back on, folks and families with children, 45% of those are children, have been going without. So if you have extra food in your pantry or money in your wallet, if you could give it to one of our local food pantries this November and December, I'm sure it will be greatly appreciated. And I do this job because I believe in America, and I believe in the hope we have in each other. And I believe that by joining in, we make it better. And by joining in every year, it's better. And I'm certainly made better in my service by serving with the four fine people to my right. And I know that we can do a lot for community when we join together, even in really challenging times, both domestically and internationally. And I'm grateful to be of service this week.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mollica?
Yeah, thank you both for highlighting all the opportunities we have for the holiday coming up. I really appreciate that. I also wanted to just highlight for the public that I was accepted into the inaugural cohort of the Abundance Fellowship, and we had a kickoff weekend in Phoenix this past weekend. Paid for by the fellowship, just to clarify. But this, I'm really excited to be with this group of people. These are local elected officials, local government folks from all over the country coming together to talk about ways that we can bring abundance to our community. And abundance is the idea that communities could grow by expanding opportunities. So building more housing for people to afford, creating more childcare opportunities for families, and removing barriers that slow down small businesses. So it's a solutions-focused approach that believes that we can meet communities' needs not by rationing scarcity, but by increasing supply, streamlining systems, and helping people thrive. And so part of this cohort is, it's an 18-month cohort, and I have a project that I will be working on moving forward with an advisor and a small group of these local electeds. And I'm going to really focus my project on childcare availability. A couple of reasons why I'm choosing that as a focus for this particular fellowship is, in the past 4 months, Adams County has lost 548 spots for childcare throughout the county. These small, like various size facilities are closing, which just means that there's even less opportunities for our families to even find childcare, not even talking about affordability, if it works for their schedule or anything like that. Those spots just don't even exist anymore. One thing that I've heard about Adams County's childcare situation is we only have spots for our infants, for 9% of our infants currently in Adams County. So if you think about, if you were to have a newborn infant today, you need to find childcare. The odds of you actually even finding a spot open are pretty rare. So this is a crisis for families, for the workforce, for women being able to get back to work after having a child. And so that's why I'm focusing on childcare availability for my project. So I'll provide updates as I move forward, but wanted to just let folks know that I'm really excited to join this group. And I'm really excited to put this methodology to work for Adams County. Thanks.
Commissioner O'Dorisio. Thank you, Commissioner.
I know it was already mentioned, but I just want to thank the Sheriff's Office and particularly Sheriff Gene Klaus for hosting the Operation Freebird this weekend, 10 to 2 at Mountain States at 70th and Broadway. This is the kind of outreach that we appreciate, and the Sheriff's Office does an outstanding job reaching out to the community in different times. This is a tradition over the years, but I think they continue to get better every year. So I want to thank the Sheriff's Office and the Sheriff for his work on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You know, I started the meeting in just that it was almost 80 degrees outside, and it is very warm for Colorado. We set a record of not having any snowfall up to this point. The blessing in disguise really is that a lot of our community partners, Adams County, our cities, we haven't had a moment yet this year, to my knowledge, where we've had to activate our severe weather action plan, our SWAP. So, you know, on that end is that given the moment we're in with challenges, whether it's federal funding, some state challenges that we have regarding new legislation that has shrunk some of our discretionary funding that goes to nonprofits such as Almost Home, we're able to really stretch those dollars for impact that when it does snow, when it does get cold, we'll be ready for that. I want to say that last week also was really the week of the city of Aurora. So we do catch the most northern communities in the city of Aurora. Aurora is far and beyond expanding exponentially. So if you go to Denver International Airport on Denver's south side, that's where Aurora comes to. If you go to the Colorado Air and Spaceport, the city limits of Aurora go clear out to the spaceport. So we were able to do a ribbon cutting for the Regional Navigation Center, which is in Aurora, which offers several types of housing, transitional housing for people in need of assistance. So that is a regional collaboration with Adams County, the city of Aurora, Arapahoe County, Douglas County, and also the state. So we're working on the housing options. Transitional housing is really important for a lot of our residents here in the county. I was also able to join a meeting with the Aurora Economic Development team, which was fantastic, talk about development. And the big thing is everything is going out, which we've known for 30 years as you get closer to the airport, north and east. So Denver is landlocked, so we're seeing a lot of opportunity for Adams County. So not only nonprofits moving here, but some students, young families, and business. Yesterday, we were able to welcome McAir Aviation at the Colorado Air and Spaceport. A great business. It will give our students here in Adams County a new opportunity to seek some other type of training, training to be a pilot right here in their own backyard. We're going to approve a lease agreement here this morning with the Hispanic Restaurant Association. I appreciate them being here. So we're here talking about workforce and all of the things. Like I knew going in, eyes wide open on this position, but the number of organizations that we touch, not only in Adams County, our residents, City of Aurora was talking about a roadway ballot measure that they're going to propose next year. All of these things coming together really stretch us as commissioners of being kind of the jack of all trades, understanding we're generalists, understanding many different things, but we rely on our experts, our staff. Dion, we have a new CFO that's starting today. We're adopting our budget. So we'll get on with our meeting. The county, just fortunate to serve with the people that I serve with. And for our fantastic employees, you heard from two of them this morning that do the work day in and day out for Adams County, including our park staff. So our Veterans Memorial was vandalized. You probably saw that on the news. We are in recovery for that. We're repairing what is needed out there. So we're just really excited about the future of Adams County and some of our challenges. And some of those challenges really are imposed on us. We try not to create our own. So with that, we're going to go on with the agenda. I just need a motion for the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
And that motion passes 5-0. So we're on to item number 7, the county manager. So Dion, what do you have for us today?
Good morning, Commissioners. I have quite a few items this morning, and I am going to start this morning with several items. The first four items I'm going to read together, and I'm going to invite a couple of our budget and finance staff to the podium to share more. But before I do, I did want to share just a couple of remarks about our budget as we dig into this next presentation. I want to acknowledge the hard work of our budget and finance team first and foremost as we prepare to adopt our 2026 budget. Our interim budget and finance director, Mark Osborne, our budget manager, Mark Kluth. I also want to introduce our new chief financial officer, Bettina Schneider, who's sitting right over there, day two. Next year, she'll be presenting this to you and she gets to listen today. But you know, adopting the budget is one of the most important functions that our team does every year. We've talked a lot about the importance of expressing our values as a county and really making sure that the investments that all of our residents make in us through their taxes are expressed in the budget decisions that we make every year. Back in May, when we had our kickoff to the budget 5 months ago, we made the charge to all of our departments, all of our elected offices, and to everyone who participates in the budget that we were going to go into the budget season with mindfulness of creating a budget that's sustainable, that protects our resources, and that we are able to take care of our people both inside and outside of our organization. It's been a challenging budget year. I think everybody's aware of all of the outside forces that have been impacting our budget and our economy. And so when we asked everyone to prepare their budget proposals for the year, we really asked everyone to look at the best use of our dollars and to make decisions thinking 2 years ahead instead of one. And so the budget that we've put together for you all has really taken that into account. And I'm very proud of the budget that we are adopting today. We'll be sharing more details about all of the investments that we are making, but want to make it clear to the public and to everyone who's listening today that we're really cautious with our budget this year. We're really thinking ahead and making sure that we're making decisions that we can sustain and that we're being thoughtful about the way that we spend our public dollars. So I really just wanted to acknowledge the hard work of everybody who's put this together, and I'm going to invite Mark Kluth up to the podium, who's going to go through these first items. So I'll read those first four right now, and then we'll do the presentation. The first item is a resolution approving expenditures and revenues for each fund and adopting a budget for Adams County, State of Colorado, for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026. Item 2 is a resolution appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amounts and for the purposes as set forth below for the County of Adams, State of Colorado, for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026. Item 3 is a resolution approving Adams County 2026 fee schedules for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026. And item 4 is a resolution approving the certification of mill levies for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026. And Mark Kluth will present these items.
Good morning, Commissioners and members of the public. My name is Mark Kluth, Budget Manager for Adams County. Today I'm honored to present the 2026 adopted budget as proposed for your consideration. I'd like to open with this quote from the County Manager's budget message. Budgets are more than just numbers, they reflect our values and our vision for the future. The 2026 adopted budget is designed to strengthen our communities, invest in essential services, and ensure long-term fiscal sustainability. The budget process is a year-round effort. Key milestones included budget presentations to the Board of County Commissioners from September 29th to October 2nd, the proposed budget presented in public hearing on October 14th, and several study sessions throughout October and early November. Today we're presenting the 2026 adopted budget for public hearing and final consideration by the Board. This budget is guided by the Board's 5 key focus areas: economic vitality and workforce readiness, a high-performing, fiscally responsible government, quality of life, a safe and healthy community, and strategic and thoughtful growth. These priorities shape every investment we propose. Looking ahead, we anticipate a stable financial outlook in 2026, but we're preparing for potential revenue declines in 2027. Our approach emphasizes sustainability, innovation, and service delivery while maintaining reserves to prevent financial disruption. The 2026 adopted budget, as proposed, includes total revenues of $876,553,642. The largest share, 57%, comes from taxes, followed by intergovernmental revenues at 26% and charges for services at 11%. Property tax alone accounts for $368,439,511. On the expenditure side, the proposed budget totals $867,186,487. Personnel costs make up 43% of expenditures, followed by charges for services at 31% and governmental services at 11%. This slide, I think, tells a better story to the public. When we look at the spending by function, community safety represents 27%, human services 23%, infrastructure and transportation 22%, general government 19%, and culture and recreation services 10%. This proposal reflects a structurally balanced budget. Total expenditures across all funds are less than total revenues. Ongoing operating expenditures are well below revenues, and one-time and capital expenditures are supported without relying on fund balances. It's important to note that this summary covers all funds. Some funds are budgeted to use fund balance for one-time expenditures or capital, which fits within the board-approved policy for use of fund balance. The general fund also reflects a structurally balanced approach. Revenues total approximately $383,414,076, while expenditures are $379,282,249. In the general fund, we are not using reserves to fund one-time or capital costs. I'd like to take a moment to highlight some of the key investments proposed in the 2026 adopted budget. For economic vitality and workforce readiness, the county is making several investments, including $1.7 million in economic incentives to support job growth and $1.9 million to expand fiber optic infrastructure. For high-performing, fiscally responsible government, the county is making several investments, including $7.9 million for energy-efficient upgrades in county facilities. For quality of life, the county is investing $3.3 million for parks and open space and $494,000 for public art installations. For safe and healthy community, the county plans to spend $10 million for detention facility maintenance and $1.1 million for poverty reduction initiatives. And towards strategic and thoughtful growth, the county plans to spend $8.7 million on road and bridge projects and $5 million for Head Start expansion. These investments are not all that are in the budget, but all that we have recommended align directly with the board's key focus areas. We're also preparing for future challenges. As Dion indicated earlier, House Bill 24B 1001 introduces new caps on property tax growth, which could limit our ability to meet service demands. And at the federal level, proposed funding reductions may shift more costs to local governments. We're actively planning to ensure long-term sustainability. Transparency and public engagement are central to our process. The 2026 proposed budget was posted online and presented in a public hearing on October 14th. All changes to the proposed budget were presented in open study session. The budget presented today incorporates all changes approved by the board during budget development. It has been available for public inspection since November 7th, and today's hearing was publicly noticed in the North Glen Thornton Sentinel. In closing, the 2026 adopted budget reflects our shared commitment to fiscal responsibility, strategic investment, and community well-being. I want to take a moment to read the full expenditure amount aloud one more time: $876,553,642. This budget would not have been possible without the leadership of the Board of County Commissioners, the guidance of executive leadership, the expertise of our department directors and elected officials, and the dedication of the budget team. Most importantly, thank you to the residents of Adams County for your engagement and trust. At this time, I welcome any questions or comments.
Great. Thank you so much, Mark. Any questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Mullica.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that overview. This was my first budget cycle since taking office, and I learned a lot about this organization. I learned a lot about where all the money goes, all the different funds we have, what we could use money for which fund. So for me, it was a great learning experience. We were able to hear from many of our departments who came in and talked about their priorities, the work they have going on, what they would like to see in the future when it comes to their work here at Adams County. And so that was really great to just dive in deeper and a better understanding of all of the amazing work that's happening here at the county. And so I appreciate the process that was put forth. I also appreciate that we as a board and staff had we were very mindful about where this budget was going to set us up, especially given the decreases that we're going to be seeing in property taxes in 27. So I felt like we were responsible. We are moving forward together in addressing all of our community's needs. There are some things that we did have to say no to, and I envy my prior board members, my senior board members, who...
Are you calling us old?
I'm not. I said senior.
Thank you.
As in more wise, and I don't know. However you want to take that. Regardless, that guy is. But regardless, you guys came from a land of plenty where you guys were able to say yes to everything and so many projects and so many amazing things that you guys were able to do. And I appreciate your leadership in that. And the county has done some spectacular things over your guys' tenure. And so this is a year when we had to say no to some of the great projects and that great innovation coming from our staff. And it was really hard to do that. It was hard to have those conversations. It was hard to kind of balance, what moves forward, what doesn't. So it was a difficult conversation at times, but I think that we settled on a great place, and I'm really excited to see some of the great work that we're going to be doing in this next year. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henson.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Mullica covered much of it. I just want to say thank you so much to the staff. $876 million is a big number, and we heard from all the departments, and under the guidance of our county manager and our finance team and our senior leadership, I think we did arrive at a good place. The asks, the dreams, the wants always exceed the cash in hand in the bank, and so those are not easy conversations to have, but I really feel that we are doing our very best to squeeze the maximum benefit and positive effect for the county out of every dollar. That is the mindset that I went into this process with, and I think that we're doing the best we can by the people of Adams County. And we do have to look ahead, that we do have some budget revenue decreases coming our way, and we want to be very transparent and frank with the community about that. But we will continue to do all the wonderful things that we can do here in Adams County, and a lot of good things have happened in this year. I know I highlighted some adverse impacts during my comments earlier, and those are real and those aren't going away, but we're not going away either. We have a great team, and I'm really excited for 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Pinter?
Yes, thank you. The reason I think you're hearing from all of us comment on this is because this budget has been in the works for so many months. And frankly, it's good work. and very hard work, but it's incredibly disappointing as well. Like that, the most we were able to accomplish is that we did not do layoffs like many of our neighbors are doing. We are not doing furloughs like most of our neighbors are doing. I was at a community meeting in Westminster, my hometown, over the weekend and talked to a family that's dual federal workers. Like a couple, like both of them work for the federal government, and they haven't seen a paycheck in weeks. And I am both so proud of the work, the diligent, hard, very hard, difficult work that has been done, and completely heartbroken, after years of being able to say yes to almost every problem that needed to be solved at a time when we know that folks are going without paychecks in our community, and there are pantries that are empty because people haven't received their SNAP benefits in weeks. And I am voting yes on this budget. I am also really stressed about how we are going to continue to support each other if this behavior from the federal government continues, because the impacts of HR1 have been really hard. And while everyone's heard about SNAP, we were also taking meetings on the federal government was trying to shut down Head Start, which would deprive people of even more childcare, and WIC, which is food for infants and children. And so I am so proud that we've been able to stabilize our workforce. I'm so proud of the collaborative effort. Almost every single department came forward with pragmatic plans to reduce their needs, reduce their operations, because inflation is very real. The impact of tariffs is very real. And so the costs to do the things have gone up. So to actually stabilize workforce has required cost cutting by departments. And our team has been collaborative and future focused, and the 2-year vision has been so essential, because we know that with those 2 layers of property tax cuts coming from our own state in Colorado from the legislature and the governor last year, we're looking at an even bigger shortfall. So I am really proud of this work. I am going to vote for this budget. It has been very hard. I know we're going to continue to have ongoing conversations on what it takes to support our services and service delivery and hold our services at level. And I know this is going to make it harder on our nonprofit partners. And we knew a fiscal cliff was coming with ARPA, and this is just a steeper cliff than any of us expected. And thank you for your work, and thank you for letting me express both a profound sense of pride in the hard work that was required to keep a budget stable with inflation and tariffs pushing all the costs up, while at the same time having a lot of disappointment in things that community needs that we are not able to meet, and we're having to push back out for a community share of responsibility, and we'll be continuing to have those conversations for months and years to come, I'm sure.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner O'Dorisio?
Yeah, I appreciate your work. I appreciate the work of the staff. I appreciate the work of our departments, including the other elected officials. We pulled the process back together, so rather than having discussions piecemeal, we were able to see things within the same day or two and really look at things from a broader perspective. In the past, when we were in a more of an abundance type of scenario where property taxes and growth were allowing us to say yes to a lot of things, I don't want to say that we're in a scarcity scenario, but because I think abundance is more of a mindset. Maybe this person will help me with that piece. Abundance can be a mindset of where we can focus on what we do have to try to address the needs. But I will say that as you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you start out with the real simple physiological needs of food and safety. And you move up to safety, and then you get into more of a belonging and interaction. This budget reflects that. We are continuing to invest in human services, partnerships as much as possible. And also, if you look at the values that we did have, that we showed during the funding for COVID dollars, we did try to invest heavily in our partners in that infrastructure out in the community, with the hope that when times get bad, you can be more resilient. We're going to continue to work on that resiliency to focus on those most basic needs in the Maslow's hierarchy, while also still recognizing that we are still a community and a society that still needs to be safe and still need to have a sense of belonging and interaction. So we're not going to cut all culture and those types of other investments, because sometimes those are also help with the parts down below. I'm looking forward to us taking on these tough challenges. It does make it harder, and it shows that the more as a society across the United States that we rely on this top-down approach. It shows how vulnerable everyone has become, relying on bigger government from the feds. When they cut the money, we realize how dependent we have been, cutting funds from big corporations and big nonprofits. We're having to start looking at the bottom up. And what I appreciate is this group is recognizing how we can still strengthen from the bottom up. So you guys have done a great job. I really appreciate the process this year. Any questions that constituents might have, they could go look at some of the study sessions that we had during the budget process, and they will get immense amount of information. And I have a really good foundational and background on how this organization is working. And I think they'll be happy with what they see. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll just round out our comments of where I left off last week or the week before, is that I'll call it the color of money really matters. So as we look from the public, I know this is a huge amount, $876,553,000. Looking at that, 57% comes from taxes, but a lot of the money doesn't go just in a big pot and we write checks off of this big pot of money. So there's funds dedicated to road and bridge. There's funds dedicated to the golf course enterprise, which operates as a business unit. So anything improvements, if that comes back to us, I think it's later in the agenda. It runs like a business. Any profit, any revenue made off of the golf course goes right back in the golf course. It's restricted. We can't use that money for anything else. So we have several other funding sources that are similar to that. I will just share that the board identified a number of process improvements, and the budget this year was fantastic. We've been at it for about 7 weeks now. It was a great process, but as we look at how do we review change orders, how do we improve efficiencies to drive this number, we're going to need all of the staff and more. We're just not able to fund staff at this time. So that's the reason we're not taking any layoffs, is because we need all the staff. The human services federal government requires imposed upon us is that now anyone on a social net program, we have to now validate them twice a year instead of once a year. So we're talking several tens of thousands of recipients that have to come to our building. So we were already stretched on staff time. We're imposing that much more work on our staff. So we took no layoffs this go around. I think the color money is the biggest thing that I want to go off of. I know there have been some asks internally, there's been some asks externally by our partners, by our nonprofit partners. The board went down every feasible possible legal avenue. We had our county attorney on speed dial of what can the funding be used for, to look for some flexibility. And there just isn't that flexibility on some of the funding. General funding is one of those funding sources. We can't just use general funding to write checks to things that we deeply, deeply, deeply care about: feeding the public, people that had their SNAP benefits cut, delayed, any lag in the social net services. There's just funding that we can't utilize for certain things. And I think to Commissioner Pinter's point is that that's just really heart-wrenching, but we're here to follow whatever law is in front of us, the state law mostly. We do have control of our own policy, the federal law, the federal challenges of what that will look like in 2027. We went very conservative this year. I want to end my comments on thanking my fellow elected officials, those on the dais with me, but also those that run their own office, our clerk and recorder, our assessor's office, the sheriff's office, the treasurer's office, for the coroner's office, for their cooperation. So it took all of us to look at our budgets. It took all of us to work with our staff. Mark, there was a change in leadership in your department. We're so excited to have the CFO as your first day. It seems very symbolic that you're here. So thank you so much. Look forward to your leadership. But the process was fantastic. We asked 100-fold of Mark Osborne and Mark Kluth of what we have received in the past as far as informing the board and presentations. And that has been, it's it was so worthwhile to really hear the challenges of every department, all of our operational, but the balance that Mark has found. Every department is going without. Every elected office is going to go without. We are able to pass a balanced budget. We're able to cover all of our foundational operational costs. That's the most important as a county commissioner, what we can do for our community. Every dollar is spoken for. And the need is far exceeds what this is, but I'm happy to be at this moment today, get on with our 2026 budget and close out this year. I just want to thank you and Mark Osborne for your leadership in leading the board, and also our executive level team for your assistance on preparing all of the presentations, many hours, hundreds of hours. It feels like I feel every dollar of this budget. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the expenditures and revenues for each fund adopting a budget for Adams County in the amount of $876,553,642.
Second.
And that motion passes 5-0. So item 2.
We just need a motion for the second item.
Yes, I'll move to approve the resolution appropriating sums of money to various funds in the amounts and for the purposes as set forth below for the County of Adams, State of Colorado, for the calendar year beginning at the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 26.
Second.
That motion passes 5-0. Next item is the 2026 fee schedule.
Chair, I will make a motion to approve the resolution approving Adams County 2026 fee schedule for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026.
Second. The board can please vote.
Chair, everyone did vote and the motion
Okay,
passed.
it says waiting on my. We good? Okay, so 5-0, motion passes. Just not showing up on my screen. And the last motion is the certification of mill levies for the calendar year 2026.
We'll need to do a voice vote.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Henson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinter,
Yes.
Commissioner Malika,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Dorisio.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, back to Dion.
All right, commissioners, the next item is a resolution approving a business personal property tax incentive agreement with NTT Global Data Centers America Incorporated. And it looks like Bill Aiken will be presenting this item.
Thank you, Chairwoman Baca and members of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm Bill Aiken, Deputy Director of Community and Economic Development for Adams County. And the economic development opportunity that we'll be going over today has been led by the Aurora Economic Development Council in support with the Adams County Community and Economic Development Department. NTT Global Data Centers is anticipating and intends to develop a data center on a 76-acre project known as the Aerotropolis Logistics Center located in Aurora, Colorado. It's highlighted right here on your screen with the star. It's just in between 70 and Denver International Airport in an area of incorporated Aurora. I'm going to go over a couple key points from a staff perspective, and then if it pleasures the Board of County Commissioners, we'll invite Aurora up to To provide additional context, but generally speaking, the project includes a 300,000 square foot new construction data center in the city limits of Aurora. This particular data center developer anticipates using waterless cooling technology and other building technology so that they can reduce energy consumption at this facility. They also have a goal to be net zero emissions by 2030. As I said earlier, the project is located within the Aerotropolis Logistics Center inside the city limits of Aurora. The total investment by this company is anticipated to be just over $900 million, and that breaks into two buckets of investment. The first one we'll talk about is the $647 million that the developer and the data center will invest in the equipment. That will be what will generate the business personal property tax. So the way that this works is that the $647 million investment in equipment, that will have an annual tax bill for their business personal property. And the way that the state statute works is that those dollars are the dollars that the company can request a portion of it be rebated back for the investment. The $260 million in real property, those will generate the property taxes that will go to the city of Aurora, Adams County, and the other mill levy taxing districts in the project area. This company will create 27 new jobs in Adams County with an average annual wage of just over $85,000, which is over 20% higher than our current average wage of $71,526. The company has also expressed a goal that they intend to hire approximately 25% of those jobs as veterans in the community. The city of Aurora has approved an incentive agreement for 10 years that's valued at $13,597,000. And Adams County staff are recommending that the Board of County Commissioners approve the proposed county incentive agreement, which has a 6-year term valued at up to $3,960,757. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any staff questions that you have or invite members from the Aurora Economic Development Council and NTT Data Centers up to provide additional context.
Thank you so much, Bill. So questions from the board at this time for staff. Comments, Commissioner Adricio.
Yeah, we're talking about 27 new jobs, right?
Yes, sir.
And so how does the calculation work when they do the 27 jobs? Usually it's a few hundred jobs. That's why I'm confused by this one with the high amount. I remember the calculation might come across as odd to some folks that are watching this. How does that work?
So the agreement spells out exactly how the calculation will be done, but just generally speaking, it's the number. So you take the job. So it might be a data engineer, security guard. Then there's a value for that, and then a unit. So there might be one security guard, there might be 2 or 3, and then you use those to get the gross, so the gross salary. You divide that by the total number of employees, and that creates your the net or the average wage paid out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I would explain this to someone. That's all I'm trying to do. So you take because certain jobs pay more.
That's right.
And so what we're saying is that some of these jobs, there may be less of these jobs, but they're higher quality paid jobs.
That's correct.
And so therefore the number that some folks might see in these incentives of $4 million, where it equates to like dozens and dozens or hundreds of jobs, may be a little different because these particular jobs are expected to be quite a bit higher pay. So that's how we balance this out. And that's why I want to be able to explain to folks when they say, how did you give 2 or 3 million here for 100 jobs, but only here you gave 4 million for 27 jobs? And the answer is because you're saying that there's a higher paying, higher quality jobs coming. Is that correct?
Many of them are. So the way that the contract reads, or the agreement for your consideration, is that the average annual wage shall be determined by dividing the total payroll paid to all employees by the total number of full-time employees at the facility. And it excludes, so it does not include any benefits paid out. It's just the wages that they receive.
Total payroll in dollars divided by the number of FTEs.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Mollica.
Yeah, quick question. So, can you describe a little bit more how this facility is planning to be net zero emissions by 2030?
I would recommend that since the NTT is here today, they could probably describe that much better on what their company philosophy is or what steps they'll be taking to accomplish that goal.
Hi, I'm John Rodriguez with
Good
NTT.
morning.
In terms of our net zero missions, it's a corporate-wide effort versus facility specific. But in terms of how we design it and what we're trying to do, some of the efforts we're putting forward are when it's a LEED certified building. So it pushes for being as sustainable as possible. Additionally, we're in the process of working through a study on renewable diesel, which is a carbon zero product for backup generators. And then we also, on the power side, we tend to try to, with our utility partners, secure as much green energy as possible. And that really is based on the generation mix of the utility. And then where we can't in the short term meet the needs, we will backfill that with credits.
Thank you.
Yep.
I do have a question since you're there. Who is your energy partner for this?
Excel.
It is Excel Energy. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Then I have a question for you.
Yes, Commissioner Doricio.
Yeah, so thank you. So let me clarify the question on net zero. You're saying that this facility, you're not, when you say net zero, you mean your company as a whole across
So
all.
the data center division will be net zero, yes.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
The data center, NTT Global Data Centers is striving for net zero. And we push to that at every individual facility. But based on the mix of the utility, we can't guarantee that because we have to buy power, and if there's only carbon-based power available, then we have to offset that with credits. And so that facility, from an emission standpoint, may not be net zero, but we would have to backfill that with credits.
Okay, so and the reason I asked that is because I didn't know that. I thought when we talked net zero, it meant like the facility would be, which was kind of a cool thing for the community. But what we have sometimes in Adams County is folks wanting to do certain things that are higher emissions in our community, and then they make up for it elsewhere.
Yeah,
and that really disturbs me when I hear that. That really caught my attention.
Yeah.
Because we are a little bit sensitive to that here in Adams County.
So our objective is to be net zero at the facility, but there's market factors that play into that.
Looks like you have a lifeline here to help you on this
No.
question. Oh, just
she's yeah.
Oh, she-
If there's other questions, she'll be able to help, especially on the incentive side in terms of the job creation and investment.
I can't hear you. You keep dropping
Sorry.
off.
Rachel will be able to help on things like job creation, investment numbers, those kinds of things.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That'll be my next question. Okay, the next question is the number of jobs. Like how many jobs? You said that the equation is the total number of payroll divided by the number of FTEs, and then that's what I'm looking up, is trying to understand that equation.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll have to forgive me. My voice normally doesn't sound like this, but I've got toddlers at home, so 'tis the season. Related to the job, so the job commitment is 25 jobs to support the operations of the facility. And I think your question is in regards to the value, the $3.9 million incentive that has been discussed working through, that we're asking for support on. That incentive is a number of factors that we've worked with the team on. That's jobs and investment. So the dollar value is tied to the property tax increment that would be generated as a result of the investment, along with then the economic impact of the 27 jobs, high-paying jobs that would be created to support. So to your earlier question as to why you may see other projects that have a larger number of jobs, perhaps those are less paying, lower wages, less investment. For this project, certainly a much larger investment, a much larger impact to the property tax increment revenue that the county will then see. And this is just for the personal property. So the 3.9 million is related to the personal property tax that would be generated over a 6-year period. The real property tax increment that would be generated as a result of the project, which will be significant given the size of the investment, is not part of that incentive dollar.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. And that'll be a question I can ask staff is then what we're saying here is that because they're going to be higher paying jobs, the economic impact is greater. In addition to that, the revenues generated for property tax increase value will also be a benefit to the community. And that's the stuff. So do we know how much we're potentially going to generate for property tax from this facility?
We do have that, and we'll have to get back to you.
That's fine. I'd love to hear that. I think it's good to tell the record because a lot of folks are really trying to scrutinize data centers. And by us showing why this investment or this incentive pencils out for the community, we have to be able to show these numbers and explain it. So, and I support this, but I do think that the conversations that have come up are going to be valuable for us in the future. And also it's a very timely discussion that's happening in our community.
Understood. And I do want to make sure it's very clear too. And the value of the incentive is 50%. So there's still 50% of the personal property taxes generated that's going to the county. Of course, then 100% of the real property. And it is for a 6-year term. So at the end of the agreement, the end of the 6-year term, then it's 100% on the property tax.
I think that's a good explanation because when we're saying that $4 million equates to 50% of the personal property tax, that also means we're generating $4 million from the other 50%. And then you're going to come back to us and with the 100% calculation or expectation for the property tax. So I'll let you go do that.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other commissioner? Those are your questions. Okay. Anything else from Bill? Thank you so much for coming to the podium.
Nothing else from staff, but we do have members from Aurora EDC here if the Board of County Commissioners have any questions for them as well.
Any questions for Aurora Economic? No, not seeing any. Okay, thank you, Bill. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion this morning to approve a business personal property tax incentive agreement with NTT Global Data Centers Americas Incorporated.
Second.
I don't have a button.
I also don't have a button.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Baca?
Yes.
Commissioner Pinter?
Yes.
Commissioner Henson?
Yes.
Commissioner Malika?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Dorisio?
Yes, and I still wouldn't mind getting that number on the record for everyone's benefit. Thank you.
Okay, the motion passes 5-0. We're on to the next resolution. Back to the county manager.
All right, the next item is a resolution approving a cafe lease agreement between Adams County and the Hispanic Restaurant Association for a portion of the Pete Morales Human Services Center located at 11860 Paco Street, Westminster, Colorado, 80033. And Nikki Bilbray will be presenting this item.
Thank you, County Manager and Commissioners. I'm excited to present this proposed cafe lease with the Hispanic Restaurant Association at our Human Services facility. This item represents a robust opportunity to reactivate the cafe space in a way that aligns with county objectives for workforce development, tenant collaboration, and public service. This opportunity would not be possible without the support of the Board of County Commissioners, our Human Services Center leadership, and the County Attorney's Office and the County Manager's Office. Thank you all for all of your contributions. The team at the Pete Morales Human Services Center delivers vital services to Adams County residents and families across the region. To strengthen accessibility and economic mobility, the Real Property Division has worked with the Hispanic Restaurant Association and proposed a lease that supports both our workforce development and community through a 3-year lease with 2 one-year renewal options for up to 5 years total, an employee discount, affordable grab-and-go options, making the cafe accessible to all. The Hispanic Culinary Institute represents a self-sustaining model that simultaneously addresses workforce needs, serves county operations, and creates a lasting economic impact through the education and opportunity that will benefit the culinary and hospitality venues and beyond. This item highlights the county's commitment to building strategic opportunities that grow our workforce, support small business, and strengthen community connection. While full economic impact will unfold over time, the benefits through job creation, business development, and community engagement will extend well beyond the cafe itself and into Adams County and beyond. We do have John available today, John Jaramillo from the Hispanic Restaurant Association, if there are any questions. And I would just also like to thank the Hispanic Restaurant Association members that we have in the audience today for being present.
Great. Thank you so much, Nikki. So we'll start first with any questions from the board, and then we'll invite John and his team down. No questions. So do you want to do comments now?
I'm happy to do comments later, but I'd love to hear from John.
So if the whole team can come down, John Jaramillo, thank you so much, you all, for being patient. I see Chef Pablo with you as well. If you'd please come down. And really interested, you know, this is fantastic. We've been promoting you. It's a feather in our cap to have the Hispanic Restaurant Association maximize the use of one of our commercial spaces, kitchen spaces. And so if you can talk a little bit about your program and then how you'll utilize this space.
Well, first of all, commissioners, thank you very much, and Nikki and the entire county for getting us here. We're beyond excited. And if anybody knows me, I'm not at a loss for words in moments like this. So I'll try and briefly. We're excited because of the opportunity on several factors. And so I don't forget about it as I'm talking about this. I want to highlight the economic input, output, and opportunities we're going to have, particularly with Juara Partee. He's bringing 4 hotels that he's going to build in Adams County. He's going to partner with us. There's a Marriott, a Hyatt, a Best Western, and I can't remember the 4th, even though I just read it right before I come up here. And I want to highlight our team before I do this, is we're going to bring Johns Hopkins graduate. Of course, he's my son, so I'm biased, but he brings a world-class artificial intelligence, machine learning skill set to our team that we're going to bring to workforce development. Of course, our new brand ambassador is going to allow us to tell our messages, as well as Chef Pablo, who makes everything taste good. Without him, we're just a bunch of talkers. But back to answer your question, is we want to bring opportunity. And I'm in the food service industry. I'm a 20-year veteran, and I trained tens of thousands of sailors and soldiers and that type. And I'm bringing that type of skill set through all of our team to Adams County, because we learned how to take somebody that knew zero and bring them to a world-class warrior status. And that's the skill set that we want to bring, along with our teams and the community we're going to bring to the Adams County restaurants, and we want to just bring excellence. And I say education, innovation, and the elevation of excellence. We're going to bring culinary tools, technological tools, social media tools, and of course, real capital there with Jarwa of actual buildings coming to Adams County. So bringing that all together, it creates that ecosystem that we want to see, and I know you as commissioners want to see. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
It absolutely does. So nothing, comments from the board? Does anyone from your team would like to speak before we get to comments?
Pablo, he's like me, but we'll give him 2 minutes. But he's excited. He's really the one that brings his skill set, because as I mentioned before, he helped produce Master Chef Mexico. I think he's one of the top chefs in the nation, and he's happy to be here because he gets to teach the next generation. So Pablo?
First of all, thank you for opening this possibility for our community. I believe that food tells the story better than all of us. And I just want to see what the land of Adams County has to tell us. At the end of the day, whatever comes into my plate is something that is being worked by the farmers, the cattle ranchers, or whomever. We are just the last piece of the puzzle to put the food on the plate, but it takes a whole community to make sure this thrives, I am happy to feed the community, which is what I really love the most, and come with creative ideas to solve the issues that we have. I just heard that 70,000 people are struggling without food. Then We have the facilities, we have the chefs, and if we can put together all these ecosystem, I think we should be able to feed the ones in need, And again, thank you for the possibilities to make our community grow.
Thank you so much for your comment, Chef.
And if I could just briefly get Juara, because it's important to show you as the commissioners and the council and the county this ecosystem we're bringing. If you could briefly talk about it. I'll put him on the spot.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me address you. Steve, how are you doing? We are looking at building 4 hotels at Jackson's Gap, and we are going to break ground any day. But with the hotels, we're bringing 50 to 80 jobs per. So we're excited for that, looking at the retail across, because it's a whole ecosystem there as well, obviously, with most of the restaurants and whatnot. So this is a great opportunity. I'm just glad that we have the opportunity to build in Adams County. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Would you be interested in building a hotel at the spaceport?
For space travel.
We have friends. But once again, thank you. Jessica is our new brand ambassador. I'm going to give her a moment just to speak. She is really going to allow us to tell our story on a larger scale, because I'm not very good at it.
Good morning. I think John just said what I'm here for. I obviously believe the vision of the HRA, and I'm just excited to be able to share that and kind of get it out to the masses. And it's really all just about supporting our community. So yeah, just excited to get started.
Fantastic.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions, commissioners? I mean,
Questions?
we're so thrilled to be here. So
We're thrilled to have you. So we'll just go down the line.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
This might be another
let's go.
one.
Commissioner Pinter.
Thrilled to have you here. My colleagues, as old timers like Steve, will remember that in hassling staff for the past 6 years, really seeing a full activation of this space has been a goal of mine for years. And I took Alicia on many tours of other options. We got to eat a lot of great food along the way. This has been such a group effort. Lynn made the connection with your organization. We've all eaten Chef Pablo's delicious food on more than one occasion. And it's just like this amazing combination of a facility that we have that needs activation, growing our small business and economic sector with real training on the job experience, allowing people to nurture entrepreneurship, as well as our agricultural roots, as well as representing our cultural roots and talking about being of service. And in a time, food does bring people together. For me, you've heard me say it probably a couple times, bless your hearts for waiting 2 hours for this moment about Thanksgiving and food and pulling up a seat at the table. Gathering around food is how people make community connections. The tie-in with hospitality and hotel is also just really beautiful. So this is this touches so many things. Activation of facility that needs activation to be meaningful, community enrichment, entrepreneurship, jobs across cultural sectors, across economic sectors, a tie-in with tourism, a tie-in with our agricultural roots. It's just all the things that give me faith and hope in our country and in our community and make me proud to be part of Adams County. And we're really lucky to have you as partners. And I know you brought a lot of thought to the table. I cannot wait. I'm real excited. So they all know I'm very pro snack just in general. And so I'm really excited to be partaking of whatever you're making.
We run on a pro snack agenda.
I do like that. You're joking, but it's real. And I've, said it for years.
It's probably in the fine print.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henson?
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. I'm just very excited about this. I don't know if this is a win-win. I think it's a win-win-win-win-win-win all the way around because of all the areas of the county, all the things that Commissioner Pinter mentioned, all the areas it's going to impact. And it's just a very exciting adventure. And I'm so pleased and proud that you're going to go on it with us. Thanks to staff, thanks to the Hispanic Restaurant Association, everybody here who's investing in Adams County and working to strengthen our community. Welcome.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mullica, Odoricio, and then I'll
just go down the line. I'll be quick. Welcome. It's nice to officially, I feel like you guys have been part of the Adams County family for a while, but officially welcome to the Adams family.
Yes.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. All the stuff that the folks, all your members and the non-members, but it's such a big deal for us to have entrepreneurs out there. And when you're cooking and when you're sharing more than just recipes and food, you're sharing culture, you're sharing moments, you're sharing time, you're sharing history, and you're sharing opportunities into the future. So thank you very much, and we look forward to strengthening this relationship.
So, we're just beaming with excitement to have you part of Adams County. We can't wait for you to start. We've been talking you up in community as we go out, and we get to brag on some of our partnerships that we have, and you're one of the big ones. So I do want to just share, comes from the DU, University of Denver Education website, a little bit about the building that you're in. So the Pete Mireles Human Services Center, regarding Mr. Mireles, he was the first director of the War on Poverty program and was named the regional director of the California Migrant Council in 1968. In 1972, Mireles was named the national director of the Office of Economic Opportunity Migrant Division in Washington, D.C., before becoming an Adams County commissioner. So during his time as a commissioner, he had the most influential stature of the board at the time. The facility would be named after Mr. Mireles to carry on his legacy by serving our community with the highest standards, similar to our new partners, the Hispanic Restaurant Association. The land where the new Pete Mireles Human Services Center is location started as a gathering place that dates back to the 1800s and early 1900s. As throughout most of Westminster, it was home to many family apple orchards. The orchard serves as a gathering place for the community to picnic and socialize in the spring and to come together in the fall for harvest. The hard work and dedication of the human services staff is a true reflection of the orchard over the years, and also with our partners here at the Hispanic Restaurant Association. I want to thank you for continuing to write the story of Adams County. We are so honored to have you here and to be a partner with us for our community. We are also all employees, so we love a lot of snacks and food, so we will be by to come and visit daily to see how you're doing and what you offer. So with that, I do need a motion. So I'm happy to make the motion to approve the cafe lease agreement between Adams County and the Hispanic Restaurant Association for a portion of the Pete Mireles Human Services Center located in Westminster.
You get to make a button motion, I think.
I do.
Second.
And with that, the motion passes 5-0. Our staff is standing by. We'd like to come down and take a picture to recognize this moment. So we'll be down right here in front of the dais.
Okay. If I could take a moment, I just want to end with this for the pictures. Is we have a saying, mi mesa es tu mesa. I want to invite everybody here. Our table is your table. So.
Love it. Beautiful.
Yay.
Okay, we're back to Dion.
All right. Item 7 is a resolution approving Amendment 1 to the agreement between Adams County and ECI Site Management Incorporated in the amount of $1,525,938.59 for the guaranteed maximum price for construction manager general contractor services for the Riverdale Golf Course retaining wall project. And Cindy Stringham and Byron Fanning will be presenting this item.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. For large construction projects, the formal request for proposal procurement process is followed for benefits to the county by using the Construction Manager General Contractor, or CMGC, approach. This allows a partnership with the contractor during the pre-construction phase to assist in final design elements and development of the pricing. Their input ensures construction feasibility, cost accuracy, and methods for cost savings. Through competitive and expert collaboration, final pricing is determined and a guaranteed maximum price provides an accurate project cost for the scope while mitigating financial risk for the county. The project team has used this approach with both the golf course retaining wall and the next agenda item, which is the golf course clubhouse renovation. The current retaining wall lines the north side of the lake within Riverdale Regional Park along Fairway 15 of the Riverdale Dunes Golf Course. It's 40 years old and is deteriorating, creating unsafe conditions for golfers. The design will repair sinkholes and replace the retaining wall with sheet pile, which is interlocking steel, for a new standard and longevity for protection of the lake, park, and the safety of users. Using the RFP process per Policy 1070, pre-construction services was awarded to ECI Site Management in June of 2025 to collaborate on final design and engineering to develop the guaranteed maximum price. The funding is provided by the Golf Course Enterprise Fund. The permits have been approved to start immediately and construction to take place in the off-season for the golf course. It is recommended to award an amendment to the contract with ECI Site Management, Inc. in the amount of $1,525,938.59 for the guaranteed maximum price for the Riverdale Golf Course retaining wall. Are there any questions?
Okay, questions from the board? Not seeing any. Okay. We just need a motion then.
I move to approve the resolution approving Amendment 1 to the agreement between Adams County and, it went away from me, Adams County and ECI Site Management.
Second.
And the motion passes 5-0. Thank you so much, Cindy.
Thank you.
Item 8 is a resolution approving Amendment 1 to the agreement between Adams County and FCI Constructors Incorporated in the amount of $2,901,000 for the guaranteed maximum price for construction manager general contractor services for the Riverdale Golf Course Clubhouse renovation project. And Cindy and Byron will be presenting that item as well.
Which one? Thank you very much. The project is to enhance the Riverdale Golf Course Clubhouse and provide more efficient operations and experience, upgraded finishes, furnishings, and lighting, increase the outdoor patio, and fix damaged piping in the crawl space. Per Policy 1071, the Statement of Qualifications process was followed for procurement of building construction and major improvements or remodeling. And then the RFP process per Policy 1070, pre-construction services, was awarded to FCI Constructors in July 2025 to collaborate on final design and cost efficiencies and develop the guaranteed maximum price for the project. The funding is also provided by the Golf Course Enterprise Fund. 2 weeks ago in public hearing, we were asked about the allowance for the crawl space piping. So we researched the costs and requirements to predetermine the scope and design. It would cost $77,000 plus construction costs and add, and 10 to 12 weeks to the schedule. Whereas an allowance for the worst case scenario to replace all piping after assessment is set at $100,000. This allowance provides budget control, and the project can commence while using the contractor's resources to investigate the scope and perform the work. Per the construction contract, any unused allowance will be retained by the county. Share some renderings. In the restaurant, the project will include enhancements to the bar and add built-in coolers and shelves. And the updates will include the lobby, the pro shop, the banquet hall, and the restrooms. The exterior improvements will expand the patio with more coverage and seats and add a fire pit. The building permit has been obtained to start immediately for construction to take place in the off-season for the golf course.
And if I could add, Cindy, the restaurant at the golf course is limited by the seating that's inside the building and the small patio currently. This project will not only expand the seating to give them the opportunity to generate more revenue, but at the end of the day, really serve more customers. There's times where customers just leave because there's just nowhere to sit. And in addition, the facilities have not been upgraded since the 90s. And it's necessary to, first of all, keep up, but also to innovations and changes have come over the years, and we've kind of done that with stacking refrigerators throughout the restaurant, for example. And this will build those things in and make it look like it's on purpose.
Therefore, it is recommended to award an amendment to the contract with FCI Constructors, Inc. in the amount of $2,901,000 for the guaranteed maximum price for the Riverdale Golf Course Clubhouse renovation project. Are there any questions?
Questions from the board? Commissioner Odricio.
Unless there's questions, the clarity again is this is coming from the enterprise fund.
Correct.
It's not coming from general fund. That means this is coming from the revenues that are generated on that site through this enterprise, and so this is what we want. It's an investment that has been like returning on its own, self-sustaining, and will continue to keep that engine running. So therefore, I move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
And good job. I continue to hear really good things about how you guys are doing the golf course. So thank you.
And the motion passes 5-0. So thank you, Cindy and Byron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners. As I bring forward these last two items, I did want to provide the board with a couple of updates as we contemplate the change orders that we have on the agenda today. We've had significant conversations about the project management, about the cause of the cost escalations that we are contemplating on the agenda, and I just wanted to reassure the board. We've had a lot of discussion with the Public Works team, with our budget and finance team, and with the county manager's office about going forward how we intend to continue to look into the root causes of some of the change orders that we're experiencing. We know that delivering projects on time and on budget is always our goal. We want to be good stewards of our funds and make sure that our contractors are held accountable for performance of their contracts and projects. And so after our session today, we've already entered into discussions that I've given direction to our CFO and to our budget team, and as well as our Public Works team, that we're going to be conducting an audit of our projects, and we'll be providing updates to the results of those assessments in the coming months as we continue to work towards efficiency and effectiveness with our project management. So I did want to state that for the board, and I know it's been an area of high concern, but also something that we are just going to continue to work on and deliver services to our community. So just wanted to share those comments. Item 9 is a resolution approving Amendment 1 to the agreement between Adams County and Zach Dirt Incorporated in the amount of $5,447,880.71 for the 2024 62nd Avenue Improvements, Pecos Street to Washington Street project. And Brian Staley, Director of Public Works, will present this item.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So the 62nd Avenue project is nearing completion, and this corridor is a vital connection between Pecos and Washington Street for Adams County businesses. Before the project even started, we worked in cooperation with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to help mitigate some environmental leachate concerns on the site that are ongoing in the work of this project. Today's change order scope includes solid waste excavation, concrete paving, drainage and electrical work, soil stabilization, and inspection support across multiple areas of the project. It's necessitated due to delays from our utility partners and efforts to coordinate with the state on CDOT permitting around the interstate that you can see cutting through the project area. The history of change orders on this project are the first 4 change orders were $0 change orders. This one is approximately $5.4 million, mostly related to environmental contamination issues, much larger contaminated soil findings once the contractor dug into the site than were originally anticipated by our environmental studies. The ongoing concerns, working with outside counsel to address the leachate concerns on the site, may necessitate future work. We will keep you informed and come back with a transparent disclosure of what's found on the site as the contractor continues to address concerns to fully remediate the site and clean up the location. And we're recommending approval of the change order as presented, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm supported in-house by Janet Lundquist, our Deputy Director, Steve Green, our Infrastructure Manager.
Great, thank you, Brian. Any questions from the board? Commissioner O'Dorisio.
No, I appreciate it. You know, you provided a lot of detail in a study session a while ago. We continue to have more discussions, and I think I supported the delay for 2 weeks to kind of understand how this, in our systems thinking, how all these things might be finding like kind of patterns of things that we can try to address in our approaches and in how you know, some of those externalities. And I appreciate the county manager's comments. I appreciate your willingness to share all those details that you've shared and help us really dive in so we can address those concerns, because people do ask us about timing and budgets, but this is a tough project. I understand that, and particularly 62nd, there were a lot of landfills in that community, that area, and this is just part of the challenge of doing some of this stuff in Adams County, which we've haven't to deal with for 100 years. So I will be supporting this, but I want to thank you for your patience as we ask very difficult questions, because those are the questions we have to answer to. And I want to thank the staff, particularly also Dion, for her leadership in making sure that we do this so we can go back and say, here's the truth, here's how we're doing it, and here's how we're going to work harder. Not you guys just working, I mean, all of us work together on trying to reduce these challenges, because we can't change what's under the ground. It's kind of like working at your home. Sometimes you open that wall up and you're like, oh my. And so we have those situations a lot in Adams County, and we're trying to get through these. So I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mullica, then Henson.
I'm laughing a little because we are a little chatty today.
We're so chatty.
Thank you, Chair. Well, you always talk. We have talked so much about these change orders. I don't have much to add about the specifics on each of these from what we've already discussed ad nauseum in study sessions and in this public forum. I think what's really important for me is just recognizing that, you know, this board takes seriously how efficient we use our taxpayer dollars. This is something that is top of mind for us. It is very important that we are transparent about these costs and that we hold true to our taxpayers. And so I'm going to approve these today. I think we still have lots of work to do, and I appreciate Dion and our team for initiating audits around this work. How does this change order process work? What are some learnings that we could take from both of these cases to improve our process moving forward, and definitely improve transparency in these costs? So I look forward to that, but thank you guys for your work. It's been a long conversation, and happy to approve this today.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henson?
Thank you. I just want to express my gratitude, my appreciation to Dion, our senior leadership team, and staff for the robust conversations we have had about these change orders. We approved our budget earlier in this meeting, and first, last, and always, it's about transparency and accountability, not just we as the county, but our partners and all because we don't do all these things by ourselves. We rely on partners outside of the county to help us achieve our goals and what we're trying to build for the people here in Adams County. And so I think taking the time to help commissioners understand how because we are the ones who have to articulate it to folks when we bump into them and they want to know, and we had to make really painful decisions in our budget process over these last several weeks. And so this is all just part and parcel of that to me. And so I just want to say thank you for the conversations that we've had, and I will support the change orders today and look forward to continuing in all aspects of our work at the county, always looking to be most efficient and thoughtful with taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any other questions. I just need a motion from the board for the approval of the change order.
Madam Chair, I move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
The motion passes 5-0. I think you're also our next item.
Item 10, our last item of new business today, a resolution approving Amendment 4, Change Order 9 to the agreement between Adams County and Hudick Excavating Incorporated, doing business as HEI Civil, in the amount of $3,452,402.28 for the York Street Phase 2 78th Avenue to 88th Avenue project. And Brian Staley will also present that item.
Excellent. So York Street Phase 2, similar challenges in executing this project. This will be the final change order on the project as construction wraps up. We're dealing mostly today, I'll navigate to the context map, mostly today with costs related to utility delays over the course of this project. And we're also dealing with a small portion of this change order with an illegal dumping concern that resulted in contaminated materials that we then became responsible for mitigating. The history of this project is storied from the beginning. This is the 9th change order, 4th amendment to the contract in the amount of $3.3 million. And again, staff is recommending approval as presented.
Okay, questions from the board? Commissioner O'Dorisio.
My comments are going to be the same as what were presented. I think that the county manager's comments really show the commitment that we have to addressing these. So any taxpayers or any businesses that are watching this know that we have a commitment to that continued effort of self-improvement and reflection, and then also the businesses that we're going to work with in the future need to know that we're going to be making, and utilities, that we might be making some tweaks to try to avoid scenarios like this from happening again. For me, that means that we can look forward with optimism and know that we are owning this. The 5 of us are owning this because it comes to us, and we're going to make sure that there is transparency and accountability. So we got to do the best we can, but we also are going to be looking to make sure that the people who work with Adams County are doing it the right way, and that we appreciate that effort. So thank you, County Manager, thank you, leadership team, and thank you, Board. So with that, I would move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
So similar to the previous change order, also this change order, I do want to, we do have a responsibility, a number of responsibilities, different lenses that we work through. I want to recognize the county manager's comments at the beginning of these 2 change orders. A number of process improvements had been identified, and changes in leadership, coming, going, new board, new lenses that we look through. I also want to thank the contractors of Zach Dirt and Hudick Excavating. I know, having grown up in Adams County, the challenges that we face anywhere when you dig in the ground. And so we don't like surprises, at least I don't, which led to some of these change orders, is we don't know what is in the ground. We can do utility locates, we can do all those things. But the level of challenges that we faced on these two projects in particular have led to these change orders. So I just want to thank the contractors for their diligence and your continued work here in the county. If everyone can vote, and the motion passes 5-0. So thank you so much, Brian. Thank you to the county manager. So next item, let's go through county attorney.
Good morning, Commissioners. No new business.
No new business today. Okay, so we're going to take a break, allow staff to set up for land use hearings. We're going to take a bit of an extended break, so we can adjourn. Board's okay coming back at 12 noon? About 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. That should work.
Okay. So we will reconvene at 12 noon to begin the land use cases. Okay, the time is 12:06. We're going to go ahead and reconvene our meeting to have the land use hearing cases. And so I'm going to start off with our staff. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Nick Eagleson with the Community and Economic Development Department, and I'll be presenting the Midtown Filing 13, case number PRC 2023-23, and this is located at the southeast corner of Mariposa Street and West 68th Avenue. So there are several requests before you this afternoon. The first one is for a major subdivision preliminary plat, and this is to create 61 residential lots and 11 non-residential tracts. And this is over approximately 13.5 acres. The second request is for a major subdivision final plat. The third request is for a final development plan within the Midtown Planned Unit development. The fourth request is for a waiver from our subdivision design standards, and this is for access via private roads, which I'll show you in more detail in some upcoming slides. And then the last request is for an improvements agreement that goes with the final plat, and this is for future improvements to the site. So just a quick bit of background about the Midtown development. It spans approximately 181 acres in size, as you can see on the map located here. The preliminary development plan was originally approved in 2007, and there's a total of 13 filings. So this is the remaining filing out there located at the far eastern edge of the development. There's approximately 1,200 residential units located within the Midtown development, and then there's approximately 43 acres of parks and open space included as well. The most recent filing was filing 12, and that was located on this far western portion of the Midtown development. So here's a look, larger view, aerial view of, again, where the site is located. This is filing 12, highlighted in blue here. Then just to give you context, this is the remaining Midtown development highlighted in, or outlined in yellow. You can see Pecos Street to the west here of filing 13. This would be Huron Street to the east, and then I-76 and I-25 located to the south and southeast here. Here is a closer aerial view of the site. This is Mariposa Street, directly adjacent to the west. This is West 68th Avenue, located adjacent to the north. And then again, Pecos Street located over here, and you can see the Clear Creek corridor located to the south here. So again, the current zoning is planned unit development. The rest of this PUD, or pink hashing, is the Midtown development to the west. It looks at first that this small portion located east right here might be within this filing number 12, but this was actually part of filing number 7 and was used for drainage infrastructure for the development of filing 7 in the Midtown development. So that is not part of this filing number 13. There's also some industrial zoning located to the south here. These are Adams County owned properties that run along the Clear Creek corridor, but they do have current zoning of I-1, and then there's some I-3 located to the south here. And then north of West 68th Avenue, it's mostly R1C with a little bit of R2 and R3 as well. The future land use designation is residential high for this filing, as well as the rest of the Midtown development. Along the Clear Creek corridor, it's parks and open space, and then some mixed-use commercial to the south of that. And then north of West 68th Avenue, it's mostly residential low with also some residential medium as well. So first, when looking at the criteria of approval, we just went ahead and listed the criteria for our preliminary plat as well as our final plat, just because there's quite a few of the same criteria within those. The first one is that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan and that it's also consistent with our development standards. Those are both for the preliminary plat. We also look to see that there's conformance with the subdivision design standards, that there's sufficient water supply as well as sewer. Also, any soil or topographical conditions have been addressed on site, and also that there's adequate drainage improvements. So all of those were for both for the preliminary as well as the final. We also look to see that it conforms to the zone district density allowances and that it's compatible with the surrounding area. Both of those were for the preliminary plat criteria. And then finally, for the final plat only, we look to see that there's adequate infrastructure or cash in lieu, and then also that it conforms to the preliminary plat application as well. So here's a look at a page from the subdivision plat. So again, the entire filing outlined in red here. You can see, again, this creates 61 lots as well as 11 tracts. This will consist of single-family attached townhomes, clustered mostly towards along the northern half of the filing. The 11 tracks that are designated, those will be for open space, parks, utilities, private drives, as well as drainage infrastructure. There's also going to be a new connection to 68th Avenue to the north here. That would be via Santa Fe Drive that kind of runs north-south here. And then 68th, I can't see, I think it's 67th Place that runs east-west here that would have that connection to Mariposa Street to the west. And then water and sewer be provided by North Pecos Water and Sanitation District. So when staff reviewed, again, this criteria for the preliminary and final plat, we do feel that it's consistent with our goals and policies within the Adams County Comp Plan. This has a designation of residential high, which is reserved for our highest residential density, and that would include townhomes. So they're proposing a density of 4.5 dwelling units per acre, again, for those the total of 61 townhome units. Staff also believes that it's consistent with our development standards. It's meeting the minimum lot size that was set by the preliminary development plan. And there, again, would be the construction of those new public streets that's going to serve the overall development. And they're also constructing private drives that's going to serve as alley access for the townhomes. They're also providing adequate drainage improvements, which has been reviewed and approved by Adams County engineers. I just outlined where that infrastructure will be located at the northeast portion of the filing. And then again, accompanying this would be an improvements agreement that requires the construction of all of that infrastructure throughout the development. Staff also feels that this is compatible with the surrounding area. Again, those townhomes will be built on the northern half of the development, closer to existing residential that's in the area. And they'll also be providing 5.7 acres of open space. 2 acres of that is this wetland preserve that you can kind of see on the aerial here at the southwest portion of the site. And they're also providing a pedestrian trail network throughout the site that would connect to that Clear Creek corridor to the south. Next, when looking at the criteria of approval for a final development plan, we look to see that it's consistent with our comprehensive plan, that it conforms with our development standards, that it's consistent with the preliminary development plan, and it's in compliance with the approved plans as well as the development standards. So just taking a look at the housing types and design that they're proposing, again, a total of 61 townhomes. The max height would be 45 feet. The minimum lot size would be 1,000 square feet. It allows for a max density of up to 16 dwelling units per acre. They're proposing a craftsman, prairie, and farmhouse style of architecture. And then those elevations would alternate by building throughout each phase of this development. And then looking at some of the characteristics for open space as well as parking, they're required to provide just over 4 acres of open space. They're providing 5.69 acres. And then there's an active recreation component of the open space requirement that they need to provide, which is 25%. And so they are required to provide just over 1 acre, 1.02, and they're providing 1.05 acres. Most of this is along the southern end here of the townhomes and consists of play fields, play hill, park plaza, fitness station, dog park, and then that trail system that I mentioned. And then for parking, they're required to provide 2.5 spaces per unit. They're providing a total of 158 parking spaces. 122 of that would be garage spaces, and then there would be 36 on-street spaces available, and that would come out to 2.59 spaces per unit, so they would be meeting that requirement as well. So when reviewing the criteria for the final development plan, staff feels it's consistent with, again, our policies within our Adams County Comp Plan, looking at that residential high designation and the overall density proposed within this filing. It also conforms to the PUD standards by exceeding the required amount of open space as well as active recreation. And it's also consistent with the approved preliminary development plan as far as design and layout goes, as well as meeting those minimum parking requirements, and then also minimum lot size and width as well. And then the last is looking at the criteria of approval for our waiver from subdivision design standards. We look to see that there's a hardship that results from compliance with the standards and regulations. They, again, would be proposing this for the alleyways, and this is to serve the townhomes throughout the development. And I highlighted the private drives, as you can see on the map here, in blue, and then the public access, again, West 67th and Santa Fe Drive is highlighted in orange. The second criteria is that the purpose of standards and regulations are served to a greater extent. These units, again, will be served by that private alley access that would serve the overall purpose of the development still. And then this finally would not nullify the purpose of our standards and regulations, and this would not have any sort of negative impact on this development. And this is very common for townhome developments that we see throughout the county. Here's some photos of the site. This photo on the left is looking down 67th towards the east, with the site located here on the right. This photo here is looking towards the west, again with some current development out there from previous Midtown filings. The photo on the left here is looking towards the southeast, so this gives you a good context of the entire site. And then the photo on the right here is looking towards the north, towards that existing residential. During the referral period, we notified property owners and occupants within 1,500 feet of the site. We sent a total of 402 notifications, and staff received 3 comments. Those 3 comments were opposed to the requests and cited concerns with this site remaining open space, as well as the potential for wildlife impacts, and then also additional traffic congestion to the area. And then there are no referral agency concerns outstanding. This did go to Planning Commission on October 23rd, 2025. At that time, there was no public comment provided, and Planning Commission at that time did add a condition that addressed a couple of alley names that were repeated throughout the plat. So staff did work with Public Works to address those and get those changed. As part of that condition of recommending approval to the Board of County Commissioners, they voted to approve that by a vote of 6-0. So with that, staff does feel that this complies with the standards and is consistent with the purpose of the regulations. They're providing adequate water and sewer services, and will be mitigating drainage throughout or through stormwater improvements to the site. And then finally, it is consistent with goals and policies of the Adams County Comp Plan. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the request with 23 findings of fact, 3 conditions precedent, 2 conditions, and 3 notes. And here are all the findings of fact. And the recommended conditions precedent. The first one is that prior to the recording of any documents related to filing 13 land use approvals, the applicant shall provide payment or satisfactory proof of past payment to the county for our regional park public land dedication fee in lieu for, and that would be for filing 6, 9, 10, and 11, which totals $117,270.76. The second one is prior to the recording of the approved final plat for a major subdivision and final development plan, payment for cash in lieu of the PLD fees for this filing 13, would need to be provided to Adams County in that specific amount there. And then the third one is that prior to the recording of the approved final plat for major subdivision and final development plan, there would need to be a payment for collateral associated with the subdivision improvements agreement that would need to be provided in that amount specified there. And then the 2 conditions, the first one is just our standard condition for subdivisions. And then the second one is that prior to issuance of any CO, the applicant shall seek and obtain a change in use permit for its proposed landscaping, as well as that active outdoor recreation amenity. And if applicable, or if the applicant is unable to install the landscaping prior to obtaining a CO or certificate of occupancy due to inclement weather, they would need to provide a performance bond in such amount that would be deemed necessary and appropriate by the Director of the Community and Economic Development. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Nick. So the land use process is staff presentation, and then we'll go to questions from the board. The applicant has an opportunity to make a presentation as well. Questions come back to the board. We'll go to public comment, and the applicant can respond if requested, and then commissioner discussion and a motion. So at this time, are there any questions from the board for staff? Commissioner O'Dorisio.
Yes. As staff, I've been here for 11 years now, and I was at the Planning Commission when this thing first started way back in when it was Karma, like way back in the day. Kristen remembers that. Over the years, when I first joined the Board of County Commissioners, the neighborhood was frustrated that there was that we were allowing more flexibility without ensuring that there was accountability with some of the vision promises that were made on this development. Over time, we kind of decided to, in order to address the concerns of the Midtown and Promac and Twin Lakes, break it down into a bunch of filings and have little milestones along the way to ensure transparency and accountability of those different milestones. And what I'd like to ask is for a brief background just to explain that, if possible. And the reason I bring that up is because we're at the end. And we did a course correction years ago. You can see in the packet that in 2018, 23, and 25, we've had different amendments and different filings come back. The one that I remember the two conditions that I remember most applicable to where we are now is that there's a park on the left on the screen. Thank you for the screen. That's outstanding. That's 12. And that future filing piece was frustrated a lot of folks because we were going to allow, and we did allow, some housing development in 12 at the expense of the park. But what we did was also, when we took some of that park acreage away and allow housing to be built there, we increased the park acreage on 13 on the far right. It made the folks on the east side of Pecos a little bit happier, and we felt it was more equitable anyway, and it worked out. And so some of those things that we created for conditions, and I would like to ask is, we won't allow, at least we didn't on 12, and I want to make sure that's still the case, anyone to move into those houses on 12 until that park is open. And I would like to ask if we're going to do the same sort of thing on 13, is that we want to make sure that that the public amenities are not always pushed to the end at the expense of the public, in preference to the profit of the development. Now, I do understand sometimes you need that profit to afford the amenities, and I do get that, but this neighborhood was particularly sensitive to those concerns over time, that their public amenities were always pushed to the back of the line. So I bring that up. It's a long-winded way, but Jen Rudder has been there for the journey, and maybe she can give a little bit of background, just enough to make sure that the new county commissioners understand a little bit of the history, to understand the question, but also to put our minds at ease that there's a reason why we don't have a room filled with 100 people right now, is because these efforts are working better than they're working. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Jen Rudder, Planning and Development Manager. Commissioner Aricio, I think you did probably a much better job than I will. I've only been here since 2015, so I've seen the journey from that point, which is certainly not the very beginning. So I can speak to the filings that have happened since that time, which is probably half the build out of this development, probably starting with filing 6 is the one that I remember, plus the school site. So in 2018, we were just going through the history prior to this hearing. In 2018, there was a third amendment to the preliminary development plan, which is really the overall plan for this entire development. It has changed over time because if you're not aware, there's some contamination that was found on some of these parcels, and there had to be some flexibility with some of the development that was here. As it was being remediated, there were additional areas identified for residential development, specifically within filing 12, which is really the impetus of that third PDP amendment. And as Commissioner Aricio stated, in exchange for some of the parkland that was supposed to be in filing 12, it was relocated to be better distributed for more residents over to filing 13. So in this filing, you see I think it was about 5.5 acres of open space that'll be available on the eastern side of the development, which really makes it a lot more equitable. So there is a 32-acre park that was one of the requirements of the third PDP amendment, and so that was completed over between filing 6 and filing 12. All of those park improvements have been completed. They were completed prior to COs for Block 2 of filing 12. I also recently approved the release of the collateral, which was in the amount of $4.5 million for filing 12 park improvements. I had staff go out there actually last week to verify that all the improvements were in place prior to releasing that amount of collateral, and they were very impressed. It was some of the new planners that had just started here, and they were very impressed by the improvements that were done out there. They said the views were amazing of downtown Denver, and talked about the play field and the gazebo. So it sounds like Midtown has done a very good job, at least with that filing 12 park. So I wanted to pass that along. With regard to Commissioner DeRicio's question about filing 13 and limiting COs, so Nick has the answer. Commissioner DeRicio had asked if we could limit the certificates of occupancy or building permits based on the completion of the park improvements, and I'll turn it over to Nick.
I think I was just going to add that is captured within condition number 2. So just wanted to reassure the board that is in there.
Okay.
I wanted you guys to take credit for that because it is something that is important.
Any other questions from the board? Not at this time. Okay, so we'll have the applicant come up and make your presentation as well.
Make sure it was past noon. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the commission. My name is John Van Voorde. I'm a senior director with Brookfield, and probably out of everybody in these chambers, I have the least experience in Midtown filing 13, unfortunately. But what I wanted to express from my understanding of the history between Brookfield and Adams County is our sincere gratitude for the partnership we've had over the years and working together to bring this wonderful community to a close. For the ones with more history, I have Susan and Izzy and Mike here with Redlands, who have been involved with the planning and engineering behind the site. Turn it over for a brief presentation, and then all 4 of us are available for questions you may have. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
John. Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? My name is Susan Wade. I'm a senior land planner with Redland. Like John said, we also have Mike Peachman with Redland. He's been a civil engineer on this project since day 1. So he will be up to follow up with any questions. As Nick had said, the preliminary development plan, the preliminary plat, and final development plan are all consistent with the Adams County Comprehensive Plan and the approved PDP. These presentations are going to be very similar to Nick, so I'm going to go fast because I know we've been here all day so far. Filing 13 is located on the far east side and is the last filing for this community. The overall community is 181 acres with 30% open space. Filing 13 is 13.5 acres with 43% open space. This exhibit illustrates how the overall community has a diversity of housing types and has a distribution, just like we talked about, of the parks, trails, and open space throughout the community. So filing 13 takes access off of West 68th Avenue in Mariposa. The access, the plan includes 3 general land uses. 5.88 acres of residential, which is the 61 single-family attached townhomes, the 5.69 open space and parks, and the 2 acres of existing wetlands in the southwest corner, again resulting in 43% of the site being parks and open space. Diving a little bit more into the site plan details, the primary circulation includes east-west circulation with West 68th Avenue and West 67th Place coming out of the existing Midtown neighborhood, and the north-south connections with Mariposa and Santa Fe Drive. The 61 townhomes are alley-loaded, which allows for front elevations around the perimeter of the site. The 5.69 acres is open space and park, which does include the 1.05 acres of active recreation, as Nick had mentioned. Playfield, Play Hill, relocated dog park, the urban plaza with cornhole, shade structure, and fitness station. The park programming was really built out of the meeting with a community where they asked for less kid-friendly offerings in terms of some of the open space amenities. That's where we interjected in the plaza, the fitness stations, and the shade structure and permanent cornhole, which are a little more adult-oriented. So the parking requirements are also met through this offering. We have 158 parking spaces, 2 spaces per unit within the garage, and an additional 36 on-street spaces for a total of 2.59 spaces per unit. As Nick mentioned, the minimum requirement is the 2.5. And finally, we are excited to share some of the renderings of the proposed architecture for the projects. The townhomes includes 1-story, 2-story, and 3-story townhomes. The style is in keeping with the existing architecture of the community and features a mixture of materials and colors to provide interest and diversity throughout the neighborhood. So we're very excited to present the final filing at Midtown, and we greatly appreciate your time and consideration. We know this project has had a huge history with the county, and we really appreciate your continued collaboration. Before any questions, I think Mike would like to have one comment.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Really appreciate your time today. Very bittersweet for me. I've been on this project, I think, since 2007 when Mr. Commissioner, you are right, karma, back in the day. It's been a long time, good memory with that. But I just wanted to thank everyone. I wanted to thank all the commissioners, planning, Board of County Commissioners, for everything you've done over the years, all the effort that you put into this, all the attention, the deliberate, the really well thought out process that we've gone through. And I really want to thank a lot of staff. There's a lot of people that have done a lot for this project currently. Jen, Nick, Kristen's been here for ever. Matt Emmons has been amazing. I cannot say enough about him as well. There's some really good people. I know I'm missing a lot of folks. Gordon Stevens. I mean, there's so many people I would like to thank over the years, for almost 20 years now. And I'd also like to thank Brookfield for bringing such a great project to the community. But just want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. I do want to recognize all of your time here today. Normally our meetings don't run quite this long, so thank you for hanging in there with us today. So at this time, are there any questions from the board for the applicant? Commissioner Pinter.
Thank you. I was trying to look in the packet, and I'm going to just phone a friend and ask you directly. I really appreciate your paying attention to the neighborhood and the neighborhood amenities, and it is important to have a balance. We can't develop the same amenities on every single block so that community has some diversity of options. Mm-hmm. I heard the phrase relocated dog park, and I was sort of looking through, and could you explain to me relocated from where, relocated from a previous, and I went to look in the packet to try to get clarity on it, but can you remind me?
Yes. So there was a temporary dog park. If you look at the southeast corner of West 68th Avenue in Mariposa, where those homes are, right now there was a temporary dog park on there in the interim until filing 13 was built. And then it obviously moves down to where number 3 is. So that's where the temporary was, in that northwest corner of filing 13.
I hear you. Okay, so how many months will the dog park be out of commission?
I'm going to let John answer that one real quick.
We have actually decommissioned the temporary dog park while we work on site improvements, but we anticipate, to the commissioner's question, starting with the amenities just as soon as we can. Once the site's been graded, utilities have been done, we have to get far enough along with all that site development before we start putting in the final improvements. So right now we're anticipating a summer Q3 of 26 for that to go in.
So summer Q3 of 26, so that's really more like July, August, September.
Correct.
Okay. That, if you're a dog owner, that's a really long time. So just trying to be mindful of community amenities, community safety, and just trying to make sure that all residents, including four-legged ones, have options. So, but that's, to do the earth moving and construction required, I can see why you needed to decommission it at Mariposa and 68. Just trying to be mindful that this is something that the existing community members probably are relying on. And there will be other community consequences if the dogs do not have safe activity spaces. So
Sure. No, understand. And we definitely did notify them that we were planning to start construction, notifying them of the other amenities within Midtown, and then approximate timeframes, like I'd mentioned, for when the new dog park would be completed.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Thank you, Commissioner Pinter. I don't see any at this time. Nope. No questions. So at this time, Erica, do you have anyone signed up for public comment?
I do not.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience? I see mostly staff, but if there's anyone in the audience would like to speak to this land use hearing, you're welcome to come down, talk your 3 minutes. Okay, not seeing anybody. So no response needed by the applicant, commissioner discussion, and then a motion. Commissioner Henson.
Thank you. I do not have as much history with this project as a lot of people in the room, but so this one has gone pretty smoothly, I would say, but I also have heard things that are helping it go that way, which is that you met with the community, you responded to their concerns over what amenities you were offering. Staff has ensured that those amenities are going to be in place and will come to fruition for the community, because I know in other public office I've been in, that is always a concern, is making sure that the pretty pictures on the screen that make people vote yes become 3D, become three-dimensional for all involved, because those promises made need to be kept, and because we really want to just make sure that we're building a great Adams County for everybody. We need housing, we need amenities, people need places to live. Developers, people who build things, it's okay to make money. That's your job. We're not trying to beat anybody up. We just want to make sure that we are being diligent on behalf of all stakeholders. And so I will be supporting this today. And again, thank you for being responsive to the community and making sure that they are included in these important decisions and that you are committing to. And thank you, staff, for making sure that that's one of our conditions, that these commitments will come to fruition. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? Okay. Then at this time, yes, great. Go ahead, Commissioner.
All right. To kind of close it all out, if that's all right, I move to approve PRC 2023-23 with 23 findings of fact, 3 conditions precedent, 2 conditions, and 3 notes.
Second.
All right.
And filing 13 passes 5-0. So thank you so much. Okay, at this time, with no additional items on our agenda, we are adjourned at 12:39 p.m.